Okay, so one more video, we're going to talk a little bit more about why Hong Xiuquan's ideas were gaining traction with the peasants. We talked about, blessed are the meek, they'll inherit the earth. So for the first time, poor peasants are being told not just that, hey, it's your place to, play your part as a poor peasant in our society. And they're actually being told, no, you could receive the earth as your inheritance. Next, there's a story, I'll hide that so you're not looking at it, where a rich young man came to Jesus in the Bible and says, I've done everything that you've asked me to do. I followed all your commandments. What could I do better? What could I do to be happier? And Jesus tells him, sell all your stuff, sell all your possessions, and then come follow me as a disciple. And this guy didn't want to part ways with his money and his goods. And so he left sad, knowing that he wasn't doing what he was being asked to do. And at that point, Jesus said to his disciples, I'm just reading off here, verily I say unto you that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again, I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, picture a little eye of a needle, than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. So not only is he saying, hey, it's good to be poor, but he's also saying, hey, it's bad to be rich. Guess who doesn't get to go to heaven? This is a little bit of a distortion of the Bible, a little bit of a twisting of what Jesus actually taught, but it's what Hong Xiuquan taught. And the peasants, think about it, if you were so poor you were basically starving to death, you might have liked this message. Not a great slide to look at. This is a link for the thing that we read together about people eating tree bark and grass roots. The lady that was poor and didn't know what to do for food who actually ground bricks into powder and ate it. I'll have you watch a Khan Academy video in a bit. Female infanticide. For the peasants, it was better to have sons than daughters. Think about it. A son can grow up and help run the farm, and someday he'll marry some girl, and that's how that works, right? The girls would someday leave the family and go marry a man somewhere, and there was a social obligation when that happened. The dad had to pay a big chunk of money called a dowry. And so if you were a farmer, you had to try to save money for your daughters for when they got married to send them off with some money. But if you had sons, guess what you're getting? You get the dowry instead of having to pay the dowry. And for various other reasons, carrying on the family name, that kind of stuff, there was some female infanticide, which means that people would kill baby girls. Nobody in their right mind thought this was okay. I don't think anybody felt good about it. But out of desperation, this was something that happened. Foot binding. That was another thing. When the Manchu came in and became the Qing dynasty, they kept all things Chinese going. They kept the Confucius system. They kept the civil service exams. They kept foot binding. They kept all that stuff in place to become as Chinese as possible. And the Taiping were like, no, we don't need to be binding feet, little girls' feet. And so a lot of the population actually liked that. They also provided some equality amongst the genders. Take a look here at a picture of a Taiping invasion. These guys have just conquered a city. So you see on the right in this kind of icky brownish color, this would be the Qing official right here. Notice how they're holding him, forcing him to bow before the Taiping official, maybe Hong Xiuquan himself, maybe somebody else. Dark, icky colors, Qing hat, traditional hat down there on the ground. What's going on over here? Bright, vibrant colors. If you look at these guys, they're all wearing a red turban. It's not a turban like Middle Eastern style where it's bigger and poofier, but these are turbans. See who's right here at his side? A female. She would have been an officer in his army probably. And then others looking on, seeing what's happening as this guy apologizes. He's probably about to be executed. Here's another picture of Qing army. Notice the red headband. That is the turban as well. Sometimes it went just on like a headband. Sometimes it went over the whole head. The leaders of the army would say that they would receive visions. They'd go into a trance and look up at the heavens. So this is depicting the light coming down, holding a special demon-slaying sword up, I'm sure, and then receiving insights and input from God on how to run the army and run the kingdom. Another thing to notice is how much more European this looks. Sure, there's Chinese flags, but look at the crown, look at the capes, feels a little more European, and that's kind of Hong Xiuquan's style to some degree. Although historically, this is probably way more accurate than this is right here. Okay, pictures of the guy himself. This may actually be a real photograph of him. Can't confirm or deny that historically speaking, but there's a good chance. So that may have been what he looked like. All right, and more to come later.